Hello everybody, welcome back to Eau Brink Studio. If this is your first time, welcome. My name is Anita and my studio is based in West Norfolk. We have started doing some monthly challenges because obviously we haven't always been able to get out, but also some people don't want to come to classes because they prefer to do things in their own homes. So I just thought it would be a bit of fun really if we all just had a go. So this month we're going to do a scrap bag challenge. Last month we used tea bags, this month we're using scraps. This is a pile of scraps that I have tipped out of a bag that I had hanging on the wall earlier. And actually I'm quite surprised at what's in it. So I've got some really pretty little things here. These are the ends of jelly rolls where I've been making little bags. So I seem to have quite a selection of these. I've got some of this really nice fabric here, and that looks like it's been cut for a bag and not used for some reason. I've got some nice cottons. I've got a piece of blue. This is something that I've dyed, and this is Egyptian cotton. So I've got a fair bit of that here for some strange reason. This looks like a whole piece from a jelly roll. It is folded, so it's quite long. That's quite nice. Some light blues. So this is all things that are used up at some point, and this is what we've got left. Got some nice blacks too. The idea is that we're going to make something using up these scraps. We're not going to get rid of them. We're not going to bin them. We're going to use them to make a piece of art. Oh, that's quite pretty. Just found another one. So when I mean a piece of art, it can be anything. It can be your interpretation of art. It's up to you. So if you're a card maker and you want to make some art cards, you know, using your pieces that you've got left over from the other cards that you've made. If you're a quilter, then you can make an art quilt of some description. It doesn't have to be big. It can be as small as you like. If you like just purely hand sewing, then you can do quite a bit with that. And if you like doing things like power text, so this is a power text piece that I take to shows for people to have a go at. And this is all scraps, all bits and pieces left over from other things, and then we make them into key holders or whatever holder you want to do. So, you know, that might be an idea. This is actually goes that way up if you can see it. I'll try and bring it in a bit closer for you. Sorry about the reflections in it, as you can see. So this is made with Tyvek. There's paint, there's machine and hand stitch on there, and the background is paper. So that's a bit of everything. This came from a piece where we were working into things like this with a workshop that we actually have another one coming up soon. So as you can see, this is all scraps as well. This is paper and fabric, and then I've hand stitched into it. I quite like these and I like doing them. So that one's a little bit bigger. And this one, if you've been to the studio, you will have seen it. Again, this is scraps. Paper, fabric, shears on this one. And also I've added in some beads because I do like a bead. I have to say I do like a bead. The other things that you can use scrap wise is if you have a tin like this. Now I know that I have a number of friends, when they see this tin it fills them with horror because they would like to see it all nicely round like this, or on those little cards and that, but quite frankly I think life is too short to be doing that, and I'd rather be doing other things. I can still use all that. A lot of it is that people have given it to me, or I've bought it where I've bought an old box out of an auction or something along those lines. It's all still usable. Any of it can be used. So think about that, and also your bits of tea bag. So if you did the tea bag challenge and you've still got some bits and pieces, give it a go. The idea is that you don't plan it too much. Just think what might go together. So if I'm doing a piece of art such as these, I don't plan them. I just sit and play and see what happens. So I'm going to just move this all aside, and I'm going to move this down to show you what I do. So I may have a background fabric. So let's, for example, this is a scrap. As you can see, this is part of an old linen tray cloth, I think it was. So I would look at this and think, you know, what could I do with it? I quite like this. So there's a big butterfly here that's been embroidered on the corner, which is quite pretty. It doesn't really stand out much, so I might want to make it stand out a bit more. So I might want to put something pretty underneath it. If I bring this down so that you can see, or maybe you can't see. Oh, there you go. Okay, so that might make that stand out. There again, I might not want to use this. I might want to use something else. So I might decide to use the other half of this and just start layering things up. So I've got this pretty green, looks like a flower border. So I might want to stitch a flower border in. I might want to find something else, maybe, I don't know, to put in there. I might want to add some of these in. They've got little houses on. I might take that out and put that in. You know, at the end of all this, we're going to stitch it. So at the moment, it's just playing. I might want to cut these smaller. I might not even want to use that. I might go for this instead of that. So it's quite a big piece, this. I'm not quite sure why it's in here either. Anyway, it's clearly been used because there's a big circle cut out of it. So if we look at this here, which is quite gardeny and quite pretty, isn't it? So I might think to myself, well, I could add to that. So I could add some of these. I could cut them smaller because there are some quite pretty flowery things here. Have we got any more of that? It's black though, so that might come down. So I might do something where we're layering up like this. This one. Might bring that in like that. So do you see what I mean? We're not deliberately building a picture, we're just looking at what we could put together on what backgrounds. There again, I could completely discard that and start pulling out threads and thinking, what threads can I use? Now, I absolutely love anything that's variegated. This is a Steph Francis. Her things are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So selection of threads, we've got lots of greens, and then there's another one. So I've got a selection of greens here that I may or may not want to use, but to me that is pretty boring, so I might chuck in something really vibrant to zhuzh it up a little bit. I may hand stitch it, I may machine stitch it. You know, I love using these threads here. These are absolutely gorgeous threads. This is what they're called. And you can find them online. I definitely have them in my shop, but you can get them in lots of other places as well. And I might just machine stitch into this. The other thing that you can do is you can add things like, if you excuse me for a minute, I'm just going to get on, because you can buy the most amazing napkins these days. Now these napkins are 3-ply, And as you can see, they have lovely flowery things. This one has got birds on it. I really like this one, so I may decide to use this one. And you can just follow these lines with your sewing machine and stitch them. You can paint into them either before or after you've stitched them. You can layer them up with sheer fabrics. And my next video will probably be something along those lines. So, you know, this design, which is very, very pretty, can be used in any way you like. And actually, this, which, let's lift that up a bit, sorry about hands. So this, the flowers on here are from a napkin. Okay, there's machine stitch on here, there's couched hand stitching on here, there's paint on the papers, this is machine stitched, this is all hand stitched. There's so much going on this simple piece that's going on here. So you know, nice shredded edges, because I actually don't like to have neat edges if I can help it, mainly because that means it's more work for me. And if you're going to use these, just separate them, take the top layer off. Okay, so now you can choose which area that you want to do. So if you want to use the birds, which are on here, you can just paint them, you can stitch into them, glue them down onto a piece of fabric using Bondaweb, whatever you want to do really. And if you've got one of those fancy machines where you can scan in these pictures, scan them in and use them. You know, there's no reason why you can't. As long as you acknowledge it's not your design, it doesn't matter. Okay, but then if you're going to use them to create a new design, then that's fine. It may be that you've drawn something similar to this, or it may be that you've got one of those marvellous pattern books with all these designs on them, so like for the arts and crafts movement and William Morris and all that sort of thing. So that's just to give you a few ideas. The other thing is, don't forget your beads. Okay, got a few beads, as you can see. I do love a bead. I prefer the seed beads. I don't tend to use these great big chunky ones that much, but you never know if you want to put them in the middle of something. So think about what you would like to do and what you would like to do it with. Another thing that you can be using, if you've got any, are these sorts of, they're like a sticker. These are Chinese. Okay, and they're made with a sort of rice paper, and these can be put on and stitched as well. So nothing is not allowed. Everything is more or less allowed, so long as your basis is scraps and you haven't gone out and bought anything, or you haven't got anyone else to buy you anything and cheated in that way. Just use what you've got. Use up some of the things in your scrap bags. You know, art quilts, if you're a quilter, as you know, beautiful, beautiful things that people make. And there's a lot of cutting and a lot of work involved in the art quilts, and a lot of stitch. So, you know, give it a go. And if you've got one that's half finished and you haven't bought all your fabric, so you can say that it is from your scraps, do so. It could be this big, it could be as big as you want to make it. It's your idea, it's your design, and you've got more than 28 days because this month is a little bit longer. So get your scrap bags out, get your bits and pieces out, and let's see what you come up with. And I will talk you through some techniques over the next few videos and make sure that you know what you're doing. And if you get stuck, just ping me a message or send me an email. All of the information is on the end of these videos, I think, at the beginning. And they're not perfect, my videos, I know, but they do get the message across. So enjoy yourselves, and I will catch up with you soon. Thank you.